Welcome back to the channel, folks. Well, here we are, all stuck at home. Bought his batshit in the shed. What are we gonna do? I haven't got much footage. I was lucky enough to get out and do a little bit as 2020 kicked off. I was feeling pretty confident after the bushfires we're gonna have a good season, and then the bloody corona. Who would have thought? So it's actually Azza's, aka George, my good friend Azza. It's his birthday week this week, and as a bit of a tribute, Azza, I did get a little bit of footage of your first buck. It's not much. I don't really have much to put out there right now, so I wasn't going to put this out in the YouTube world, but I thought, well, we're all sitting at home, we've got nothing better to do, well, why not chuck it out there? And Aaron of late has been getting right into his reloading with the help of Robbo, and he's become quite knowledgeable about it. So I did get a little bit of footage, me and Azza just talking pros and cons of reloading, and we had a good time doing it. So if you're thinking about reloading or you want to get into it, I'll chuck this bit in the first bit of video. It's going to be a little bit of an educational kind of question and answers. I'm going to ask all the dumb questions that you might come up with, and we're going to chuck it out there in layman's terms. If you're not interested in that, you just want to see the hunt, skip forward to when the hunt begins and see how it all went down. I had Gibbo, Donk, and Azza with me, and we had a great time just on the farm fringe. Found a few piggies too, which was good. And stay tuned, have a look. So back when we were young fellas, I think it would be back in the 90s, Azza and I were first introduced to hand loading by an old fella, and he loaded us some what he called squibs for our 3006 and our 308, and basically it meant that while we're out deer hunting, if we saw a fox or something like that, we didn't have to fling a full-fledged factory round at them, and we could use these low velocity and almost subsonic loads. And apart from that, we just kind of thought that hand loading pills was either to save money or to, if you're an old guy and had nothing better to do, basically. So, Azza, tell me, am I wrong in that?
Well, they did say that you'd save a few dollars if you started doing hand loading, but I'm yet to see that. I'll tell you what.
How much do you reckon you've spent so far on your hand in your loading?
I reckon I'm about $3,000 in, and I reckon I've loaded about 200 rounds. So at the moment, I'm not seeing any savings. But saying that, it's enjoyable to do. Like, I love every single
almost
part
therapeutic,
of it. And you can customize your rounds to suit your rifle, to suit your needs, to get them more accurate.
So from a hunter's point of view, if you're thinking that you might get into this to save some money, you're on the wrong train there. But to custom load to get a rifle fit, then you're saying that that's probably worth chasing.
Correct, yeah. If you definitely want to improve your accuracy, hand load's definitely the way to go. But in saying that, some rifles love factory ammo, so and even being able to choose your projectiles is a huge bonus, I guess, as well.
Because I know, like, back in the early days, we were starved for exactly that, projectiles. You basically had what you could buy at the shop, and if you didn't do that, you had to find someone that could hand load for you or get into it yourself, because there was still lots of projectiles that you could buy, but not necessarily loaded up out of the factory. But now we're sport for choice. I mean, you go in the shop now and take your pick. There's all kinds of stuff, right?
Well, you can never buy your Barnes in a loaded ammo.
Yep. Or your Woodleys and stuff like that.
Yeah. Whereas now, a lot of the manufacturers are pumping them out ready to go just because they know people like it, and that's where the money is. So.
And a lot of those oddball calibers that back in the old days, people had big pills that were expensive.
Plus, I've noticed all the reloading stuff now, it is so expensive now. Yeah. Like, it used to be quite cheap. Like, your projectiles used to be, 30 cents a projectile or whatever. Now, you're paying, some calibers, you're paying up to $1, $1.50 just for a projectile. So it all adds up. By the time you add your projectile, your powder, like some of your powders, like that bottle there's $75 and you might get 50, 70 rounds out of it.
Yeah, right.
You're talking over $1 worth of powder in each shot, so it does add up.
Righto. So with that said, if we do want to go down the line of doing this, for the guys that haven't seen this before, I mean, it's pretty obvious for most of us, but just give us a quick kind of layman's terms of a breakdown of what's in a bullet. So if I've shot a bullet, I've got a spent case. You
got your spent case. Try and pick them up, obviously, once you fired them. Don't just leave them leave them out there.
Why would I want to use the case from my rifle as opposed to a brand new one though?
Well, two reasons. The first one is it's fire form for your rifle, so once you fire it, it's expanded in your chamber, so that the outside of the case is exactly the same as your chamber. So the next time that goes in, if you don't full length resize it, you only do your neck, it's going to be a lot more accurate.
Yep.
Just because it suits that rifle.
And how many cracks do we get at using that same brass roughly?
Wow.
Like
Full length resizing, they say between 3 to 5.
Yep.
Maybe even more. But if you just do the neck, you can just do the neck where your bullet seats.
Yep.
Which will extend the life of the case a fair bit. So.
All right. So you've got your piece of brass. Just show us a quick breakdown of what actually constitutes, what makes up a load here. What are we working about?
So we've got our brass, obviously, which is the main component. You got your primer, which goes into your primer pocket in the back. You got your powder, which fills your case, and then you got your projectile, which gets seated in.
Easy peasy.
So there's not too much to a bullet, really.
So let's talk about a quick overview of a process then. So obviously, to make this thing here, when you've say got new brass, obviously it's ready to rock and roll. But what about one that we've shot?
Yeah, correct. New brass is a bit easier, but say that's a fired case. Straight into the tumbler. I'd get 20 or 30 in here. 4 or 5 hours, brings them out nice and clean.
Would you pop your old primer out first?
No, because then it fills it up with the media.
So leave it in. Yep.
Yep. I used to do that, but then I'd get a little screwdriver and have to pop out the media. So Robbo gave me a hot tip: do it with the primer in first.
Yep.
So then you got nice shiny brass like that. That's actually out the tumbler. Then we pop the primer. So I've got a little separate press here. That goes into your shell holder, up into your. That's just a Lee universal decapping die, which just pops out your primers. Then it needs to be resized to take the new bullet. So in this press, you got your full length resizing die. So then your shell obviously just goes into here, up into your full length resizer. Obviously you need to set your heights and all your measurements and stuff, but that's not too difficult. So then it's resized, ready for the new primer. I used to use the old powder throw and the old scales, but that's very, very time consuming, so I upgraded to the Charge Master. So you basically put in your powder weight, fill up your hopper, put in your powder weight, it'll throw it in your thingo, into your funnel, through into your case. Obviously you do them in batches, so you're sort of doing 20, 30, 40 at a time. Fill it with your powder, and then back into the press. Change this over for a seating die, and then back into there, and obviously seat to your required depth.
So there's a lot of steps in there.
Yeah.
So
there's a few little steps.
Because this is a bit of a process and there's so many steps, what kind of things can newbies that are getting into it kind of expect? Can it be dangerous? Like what could go wrong here?
Wow, it's not too dangerous as far as I can tell. Haven't had any disasters or anything yet. The main biggest thing obviously is your powder. Obviously making sure you use the correct powder for your load.
Yep.
ADI powders, they've got a good website. You can check out your powder weights and your loads and stuff and stay within your safety things. A lot of people do push it to the limit, obviously with hand loads, so that's when it does become dangerous. But
limit being too much powder.
Too much powder, which makes them a bit too hot, which can be dangerous, but I try and keep mine safe as.
So the biggest tip you'd say is make sure you're only
just getting the right powder,
the right powder for the job,
the right quantity. Don't obviously put too lots of powder in the one case, which on a rifle it's pretty hard to do because it'll overflow. But that's the number one thing is obviously correct powder and not too much powder.
Yep, good stuff. So Azza, tell us about speed. So I know we've got different rifle barrel lengths and different ways to get speed, but why would you want to go really, really fast? Like, tell us what's the point?
Well, obviously by hand loading you can vary your speeds depending on your projectile. So you've got your bonded and your monolithic. Obviously at different speeds they open up and expand differently. So by slowing something like this down, you might find it will expand better. Or by speeding it up, you might find that this one will expand better. So you can play around with your speeds to play around with the expansion.
So we're not going to go too deep into this, but Az is going to just give us an explanation of in a lot of factory ammo, your the actual projectile, once it's in the action, is going to have a little jump to the rifling. And we're just going to talk quickly about head spacing and why hand loading gives you the advantage. So Azza, show us what you're talking about here.
On a factory round, you'll find that they're all set to a standard spec. So
we can imagine this is our barrel, right?
Yep, this is the back of your barrel. So when your bullet's loaded into the chamber, you're probably going to find that the bullet sits back from the start from the lands, probably something like that, probably a little bit closer. But when you hand load, you can actually bring that right up, not quite touching because it creates too much pressure, but you want to bring it back. They say around sort of anywhere between 10, 30 thou is a good. I normally go around 20 thou, which has been recommended, but yeah, just bringing it back just a slight. That way the bullet doesn't have to jump far to get into the barrel.
Yep. And that's going to be a specific thing to not only the brand and the make, but actually the individual rifle.
Yep. Every rifle is different. So there's a process to actually measure your rifle to find out exact lands measurement. And then obviously you just back it back that 20 thou. So that way when you load your rifle, obviously the less the bullet has to jump between there and there is the less that can go wrong. So
it's all of a matter of ironing all the different tolerances.
Correct.
Well, Aaron's going to help me load some of these low velocity rounds for my 7mm Rem Mag today. I've actually brought my rifle along so we can do this measurement of the head spacing. So there's a special tool that Azza will use, and we'll give you a quick look at that. So show us how this thing works, Azza.
So this is your overall length gauge. Then you've got a modified case here, which is actually tapped in the back, which screws on to the end, like so. Now, it's actually the same diameter as a fired case, so the projectile will sit in there nicely.
Just slip in, yep.
So then obviously, you've got your push rod here, which obviously you push up through there and you can adjust the length of your projectile. So
and you got a little measurement stick on there.
Correct. We lock it off and then we measure it, but with the verniers. This comes in from the back. Obviously, you've got to remove the bolt to get this in there. We push the cartridge up into the chamber flush. Hold that there, and then we slowly push this rod in till we just feel it hit the lands. We'll lock it off there, and we pull it out. Projectile's still there. And there we have it. That's the exact length to his lands. Obviously we want to back it off a little when we load them so that it's not jammed into the lands, but we're going to get a vernier and take a measurement and
that's it.
Go from there.
Sweet. So here I've got a Tikka mag, and this is from Aaron's rifle, and behind that silver mag there is out of my Sarko. And one of the things when you hand load, like we were just talking about with head spacing, is the opportunity to push the projectile outside of the case to hit those lands there. And you can see one of the downsides of some rifles is that you won't be able to use your magazine, therefore you would have to top load effectively or just insert one at a time. So some rifles, however, like with this one, have that extra room at the front of the mag. So you can see here, this is 7mm. There's still plenty, even with that being so high, I've still got plenty of room up the front there. So just another little thing to consider when purchasing a rifle. So as has been, like me, we've been exposed to this kind of stuff for a long time, but Az has only been kind of dabbling with this stuff for a couple of years now, and it takes quite a long time to build up your repertoire of stuff and a lot of time on the range and testing with specific tools like cronies and stuff like that. And for more info, like, you know, we're definitely no experts. There's lots of different ways to skin a cat, as they say. So head over to Robbo's channel. By all means, put a comment in if you want to see it kind of done, and I can explain. I can go around to Robbo's house and we can get right it, because there's a lot more to it, isn't there, Azza?
He's my Bible. He gets a phone call every week or two just asking him a question. He's been there and done it 1,000 times, so he's pretty good with his reloading.
Like I said,
Bolt Action Productions.
Old man's game. Old guys, they love this stuff.
But no, it's good fun.
Yeah. No worries, good stuff. Thanks for sharing, Azza.
No worries. Thanks.
Good morning, folks. We're at it again. First hunt for the 2020 season. Got Don, Azza and Don heading out for a little look on the fringe country this time. See if we can pick up a fallow freezer model. There's a bit of action there. Don spooked a nice fallow buck at the top of the hill. I was down the bottom and he said it was running my way. And I held there and didn't see anything, so I said I'll push up, and I found a little thicket. I thought that's a good place for a deer to hide. As soon as I walked in the back of the thicket, it broke out the other side. Ran straight into Azza's gun. Azza got a shot. Thought he hit it in the neck, but we went and had a really good look around. Couldn't find it, and while Don was looking for it, he saw it run out the other side, and he had a shot at it. And it's circled around and it's gone above the other Don, so it's one lucky deer. So I've just kind of pushed up and trying to get some high ground now and see if I can work out where he went. It's quite open in this area, but I have just come from a few thickets behind me, so he's giving us a slip. He's a clever one. So Don, what did Azza find? Azza, you bloody tin ass. Didn't even bloody say anything. It's an old one, but yeah, that's a good start. Yeah, that's been a good morning hunt. We've all seen a deer this morning, which for the first one of the season is good. But after 3 months off, the other boys, not us, we haven't let a shot off. The other guys have let the team down,
and we're quite glad it wasn't us because we can rib them. But I give it to Az, finding that in this country, half buried. That's not an easy thing to do, I reckon.
Right. Yeah,
but
we chuffed with that.
But that's what Az does, doesn't he? He's more keen on finding antlers than shooting deer sometimes.
So to prove us that you did miss, we're going to check Azza's gun, and then we're going to check Don's gun. Yeah, no missing on purpose.
We had a lucky fellow this morning. 4 shots at him, and he still got away.
Well, we might as well check. It's the start of the season, so we've had a few months off, so we're all going to just check all our rifles now. Anyway, we should have done that beforehand, but we might as well do it all now before we've got another couple of hunts. So we've got it set up at 100. We'll give these a whiz, check everything, and then this afternoon we'll give it another crack. Righto. Live. When you're ready.
Impact.
It's the morning of day 2 now. We're just trying to navigate our way through the farm, get back against the forest edge. Oh, it's early morning, eerily quiet. We set off really early in the dark and come up to this really open section. The boys just bumped 3 sambar, but I'm on the eastern face here. Very quiet on the ground. Not much action, not many animals, so I'm going to change and go over to the southern or the western side, and hopefully there's a bit more tucker over there. It's surprisingly dry underfoot, but you can still be pretty quiet, so it makes for good stalking. Just very, very open here, so if I was a deer I'd want a bit more cover. Anyway, fingers crossed, we need to fill the freezer. Fingers crossed on the other side we can find some animals there. Well, it's all happening now. Don't. Oh, there goes another shot. That's 4 shots. 5 shots. 6 shots. The word on the radio was pigs. And somewhere in here there's a bull Cooey! Yep, I'm coming over. So Don's just come on the radio and said he was pushing through this little stuff and I was holding the top of the gully there. And I heard the rifle ring out. I thought, you beauty, that's dinner bell. He's got a boar, so the other boys are on the other ridge where the sand were. And then 4 shots are rang out from over there, so maybe it's pigs over there too, or shit shooting. One or the other. Jeez, Don, you're in some thick stuff here, mate.
I couldn't answer the radio, I was cool, I'm sure I'll be answering these.
That's the kind of stuff that I avoided this time because of the pigs. Oh God. Yep, this is just like what happened to me last time, crawling through this shit. Oh yeah, there's a bit of sign here, there's a bit of shit there. I was just about to come on the radio and tell you I found some pig stuff there. Yeah. And then I heard you shoot and I thought, yeah, I'll have to crawl through this.
I don't know where the first shot hit him.
That's good shooting, Tex. Yeah, 308, it's probably...
Well, he was coming towards me the first shot, I don't know where it hit him.
Did he see you? Well, he was
No,
coming...
he didn't see me, he was still heading towards me.
He was just trotting along.
Just trotting.
Oh, good sized boar.
He's solid,
a bit
bugger.
of fat on him.
Yeah.
Fat rolls. Bit of pork belly, man.
Clean. Any ticks or shit going on off this one.
With the guys out there that have watched the other videos, we all know how Don loves his bacon. Do you reckon, Taser? What do you think about that?
Sort of a little old boar or something. It's a bit weird.
That's like the one I shot up here. He was big body, but not really any tusks. Yeah. Well, he's been pretty smart considering the controls they've put in for pigs up here.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're pretty much, they said they've gotten rid of them all, and not the case.
No.
He might be the last lone boar, mate. Might have done the trick.
Yeah.
Showing the pros up. Good stuff, that shit, right? All action this morning after a kerfuffle with all the pigs and all the shots off. Don and Azza set off looking for a group of pigs and pursuing those. They dropped off down to the western side, same side as us. And Gibbo and I went out the other side, and I said to Gibbo, there's usually fallow deer down in this pocket, go and have a look down there. 10 minutes later a shot rang out, jumped on the radio, he's got a fallow, and then I lost contact with him. Just as I spun around I saw another group of fallow, maybe the ones that he pushed, running down below me with a nice buck. So I couldn't get a shot on them, they were too fast, running down below me. I radioed on the boys, see where they were. I said, get ready, there might be some fallow coming. And Aaron was pretty excited. He jumped on the radio and said, I see a nice buck, I see a nice buck. And a little bit of radio silence, and a shot rang out. And Azza just come on the radio and said, buck down. So I can't get Gibbo on the radio. I don't know what he's doing. He must be dressing down his. I'm closer to Azza, so I'm going to go and see what Azza's got on the ground, and it is all happening. Cooey! Must be close now. Well, we set out to get Azza his first fallow stag this season, first hunt of the season, and we all disgraced ourselves yesterday missing deer. Well, I actually got a shot on one late last night, right on last light. I put Don in the shooting position and they ran past him. So I took my shoes off, snuck down, got a good shot onto it, 90% sure I hit it. We looked and looked and looked until all hours, could not recover it. So we're still bringing home some meat, fortunately. Working together is the key. Here we go. What's happening here, Azza?
Shaking like a leaf. Oh yeah.
Show us your hands.
They're better now. After the gap between when you shoot the fine in it, right, I was so confident though. Just front on, put it right in the middle of his chest.
Was he coming up the hill or?
Done a backflip.
Oh.
All the scene was just he just went launched straight up, and he went from there to there.
Where were you shooting from?
I was up on that top.
Oh, you're above him. Sweet.
You had a stone almost.
Was he getting elevation? Was he coming up?
Yeah, he was coming up
Yeah.
the trail. Yeah.
Yeah, so where I saw him,
They were coming from over there.
yeah, this is the game trail. I was up on that. You want to see that ridge? I was up here, and I saw him crossing down here.
I only seen him. And then as soon as I shot him,
You saw the other
there
ones?
were only two others with him.
I saw, I reckon,
A
6.
real gingery one, like a real ready one. They took off down and then looped around. That's what I said, get ready.
Awesome cape.
Isn't it?
How wide is it?
It stood out like that, didn't it? As soon as I come over the front, that's all I could see.
Fantastic. Well done, George. That was the goal this weekend. Get yourself a fallow stag, and you've done it. You roll him over and give us a look.
Oh yeah, look at that coat.
The cape's amazing. Well done, Azza.
Thanks, mate. What a cracker.
What'd you shoot him with?
7 rim mag, probably at about 110 metres maybe.
Front on.
It's dead straight, front on.
Look at that cape. That's as good as the white one.
Yeah, straight in the chest.
Yes, we need the meat, so. Little walked on.
Jeez. Yeah, couple of legs in my backpack doesn't make it any easier.
Did you already strip it down?
Didn't that down here?
Well,
Here? Yeah. Running and fucking shot one, and had a shot the other one, and just I was a bit further away, but
So is your deer down?
yeah.
he's got it in the backpack already.
When I was coming back up just then, I don't know if you couldn't hear me because I couldn't hear you as well. I was calling out. There was deer running out to that radio antenna right along the ridge. Just skyline. Oh, where are they coming from? I hear it thrashing the bush, but it hadn't stopped. It kept running through, and then I got on my hands and knees. I'm crawling through the bush. I can come up to near it, and it's just rocking back and forwards against some bloody some brush. And bang! Yeah, got it again. Yeah.
Well done, mate.
What do you reckon, Taser?
Hey, bloody double up. Yeah, I'll redeem myself.
I haven't shot fire shot this morning. I'm the only one. Barrel's still cold.
I thought it was when I heard the shot. I thought it was you over here shooting.
It nearly was. I had my finger weight on the trigger, but I thought, nah, they were running hard. But it worked out alright. Why are you going to call him Kenny?
Inspector Kenny what's his name?
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, yeah.
So,
Look at
for
the
those that don't know who Kenny Rogers is, what does he do, Azza?
You got to know when to hold 'em. He's a singer.
Bloody good song, that. So you're going to call him Kenny.
Kenny is his name.
And because this is...
Who killed Kenny?
Because this is Azza's first buck that we set out to do. He's not only going to fill the freezer with him, he's going to get a mount done. It's a bit of a tribute to the hunt. It's been a bloody good morning. How's the new binos, Don?
Enjoying them, mate, yeah. I actually like picking them up and looking for them compared to, just, I'll get the other things out and squint your eyes through them. These are...
Makes it a lot more enjoyable, doesn't it?
It does.
So tell us how your fallow hunt went this morning. After we separated from the pigs, you went down. How'd it go down?
Yeah, look, I just went over the top, looking down a sort of a ridge. I didn't actually glass them, they were on the trot. They must have either heard me or they were running up, and luckily enough both didn't stop. I was able to, shoot one.
So one's in the backpack,
Yeah, one's in the backpack.
and
A little one, probably half the size of this big boy.
so we got how many shots were fired today?
I did 2,
3,
Don had
4.
4.
4 for me. My first one was an excitement miss.
Just ringing the bell first. Get ready.
Be honest there, that was
Yeah, I've got one round left, Az, for you to give back.
So after
20.
after Don's few misses, Gibbo's misses yesterday, we checked his rifle and it was out. So that explains he's off the hook for his misses. So he swapped his God Aaron's 308, which is the backup rifle he had luckily. And today he's been absolutely on the mark and slaying them. So that's a bloody good result.
Yeah.
And Azza's was out too, and he made a few adjustments and took his time on this guy. And frontal shot's a tricky shot, Azza, on a small target like that. So you were offhand, but you thought best to get a rest in the end.
I just didn't want to risk losing him because he was so good. So I had to get about 3 or 4 metres to a tree for a rest, which worked out alright because I got behind it. So, but he knew I was there. He was watching me.
Really?
He knew something was up there. Anyway, he'd stopped and
He wouldn't have had the wind, so.
Good size set of nuts, aren't they? They're bigger than some of the
you
sandal
haven't
ones
seen
I've
mine
seen.
yet.
Not as big as Azza's left nut.
You haven't seen me lefty.
Dad's got the video out, mate.
We're ready for the long walk out. It's gonna suck. Alright, lead the way. I'm done. We got it all. 4 legs, back straps, cape. We're get up out of here, and it's gonna get hot fast, so we need to move, and Az's gonna do a trip down for the taxidermist. Happy days. How you feeling? You sweating? Funny thing is, Don's down there, going further down, looking for his boar.
You're watching this though, at least you have. Well done.
I'm proud of you, Azza. Caped it all yourself, shot it yourself. Shit hot. That's great. Don's still looking. Look, he's got a little bit more room in his backpack. You've got that hole there folded inside that thing. Never does it any justice, but how steep is it, Azza? Oh shit, cliffs. Anyway, fastest way down is off the top of the cliff, right? Right, so we've just dropped in to see Rob Dexter. Is it going to be Azza's taxidermist for his first fallow buck, and he's just going to tell Azza how terrible his attempt at caping.
Don't bring another one back.
So it's commonplace. You might have to pay a bit more for the dog food there, but it's a pretty good effort to start with. First attempt, you just got to get in there and have a go. But in most cases, Rob is kind of typical of getting it dropped off like this. You can fix up most people's mistakes, can't you?
Yeah, sometimes. No, most of the time. But you can fix them all up. There has been a couple come in that I've had to say, can't fix that, especially when they're split up the middle, up the front.
Oh, that way.
Can't fix them.
Yeah. So in terms of what he has done right, what he's given you enough backwards there?
He's given me plenty of cape. That's a good thing. plenty of cape is the main priority.
And he's done the socks. He wasn't
He's
sure
done
to
the
do a
socks,
flank
that's
cut.
fine.
You're
You can
happy with
either split them down the line, hairline down there and down there, which
Yep.
is fine. I'll actually do that when I tan it. It's easier, and I'll just split it down there so
Anyway.
I can put it over the flesher easier.
Another question Azza had was, should he have salted it, being that we drove straight here? Would you prefer to work on it like that if you can get it here in a few hours?
In
or?
the weather the way it is today, it'll be fine. But as far as I go, I tell every hunter, take salt.
Take
Just
salt.
take salt, put it on there. If it were warm or muggy,
Yep.
you'll lose a cape really quickly.
Yeah.
And today is quite warm. We've had kind of high teens and maybe even 20 degrees today. We had this guy on the ground at what, 9 o'clock, and it's now going on 4.
5:30, mate.
Yep. And that's kind of typical if you're out in the bush. It's taken a while to get back to your local taxidermist. But what's your when you're not busy, Rob, like this time? What can people expect for a turnaround on a job typically?
Usually, even when I am busy, it's usually just 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, if I get really busy, I might blow out to 6 months, but yeah, 3 months turnaround.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you just got to pick out your the style that you want, Azza. The form, left, right, full sneak, full body.
Not going to be life size.
Well, here it is in pride and place. I've just popped over to Azza's house to check out the new addition. Looks bloody awesome. Rob's done a great job of that. I really love how they've wrapped the fur right around the back there, so you can see those wicked spots. And in this house, it's good because this is a bit of a hallway here. So looks ace. You love it, Azza? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely wrapped with it.
Yeah, shit hot.
It's the wall perfect there. Love it.
Take care, guys.